Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot. PulsChain, the coin, has been listed in OKX just a few days ago. This is a great opportunity to run a grid bot and also for running a DCA bot. In this video, I'm going to show you my favorite way to run grid bots on different coins, and I'm going to use PulsChain as an excuse to show you how great it works. With this particular method of running grid bots, in a matter of a couple of days, you can make profits of up to 15%. This setup is extremely simple. You can run it on spot, and the best part of everything is that finally the coin is listed on OKX, which means that we can run the grids directly from OKX. In this video, I won't be introducing you to PulsChain. I can make a separate video for that. Let me know if that's what you want. In a very short summary, I'm gonna tell you that I'm very bullish on this coin, and I think for bot trading is a great opportunity. Also, you can see on Dex Screener that is top number 7 of 24 hours volume. Currently taking over Avalanche, Solana, Aptos, Osmosis, and Phantom. Incredible, isn't it? And probably the reason why they are getting listed on OKX. I wouldn't be surprised, very soon they get listed in other exchanges as well. So I think it's worth that we get ready with a setup that we can run, particularly this token. I'm gonna start first with the setup for the grid bot, but feel free to look at the description, the timestamps, and you can go straight into the Martingale bot if that is the one that you prefer to watch. And just a friendly reminder, there's still 4 days and 11 hours. I'm hosting this exclusive event on OKX to unlock up to 60,000 in rewards. In order to sign up for that bonus, to open an account on OKX, so head down to okx.com, click on sign up, fill in your email, and expand this area here and write down Parrot. Once you complete that, you're gonna see that you are eligible for 20% discount in all the trading fees, which is gonna maximize the profits that you're gonna make as well with the bots. Once you have your account created, I left a link in the description at the very top that says exclusive event OKX. Once you open that, click on join. You can deposit from $50. All right, so here we have the chart of PulsChain with Tether in OKX. I'm using the 5-minute chart. I'm going to explain what is the methodology I follow to enter short-term grid setups. It is very simple. The first thing that you're going to have to do once you already have the chart loaded with the token that you want to trade and you are in a low time frame, like for example 5 minutes, is you head down to indicators, search for QFL. Once you find this one here from the Trading Parrot, QFL single TF with alerts, it's going to look pretty much like this, and we're going to have to change some settings. First of all, we're going to change the time frame to 1 hour. I'm going to leave the bases, but I'm going to hide the one for selling. So we need to hide fractal up and the S. Now we need to search for another indicator called ATR bands. This one here from the 3rd floor, select the ATR period of 14 with a band scale factor of 3. And we're going to hide the upper band. Here is going to be the plan. QFL plots these bases, and every time the price goes below the base by certain percentage, the theory says that the price comes back into the base. It either breaks above it, or at least it gets attracted like if it was a magnet. We're going to start our grid bot at the moment we get the first buy, and we're going to end our grid bot at the moment we get a new base plotted in the chart. So pretty much like this. But the thing that you should be wondering is where is going to be the range low. We know the range on the top because it's going to coincide with the base. And we know where we start. We start on this candle here because we got a buy, and we know when we stop. But we still don't know where to put the lower end. In order to solve that, we're going to use ATR bands. But the problem is that the one that is publicly available on TradingView doesn't offer you the option to select a time frame. And I don't want to be running ATR bands on the 5 minutes because that's very tied to the price. So you have two options. You can mark down here the moment that you're entering, like right there, and then flip very quickly to the 1 hour time frame. And we still have the line marked in our chart around here. And at this point, I want you to focus on what was the level of the ATR in the 1 hour below the price. So that is going to be our lower end for our grid. So let's transfer this square and let's plot it until there. And now we go back into the 5 minutes. And as you can see now, The ATR looks again very tight to the price, but we are not using the 5-minute ATR. Now that we know our range and we know when to stop the grid, we're gonna backtest the performance if we took this entry with a grid bot with 10 levels. First of all, let me hide the ATR because we don't need it anymore. I'm gonna leave the QFL just for your visual context to know for how long we're gonna run the grid. At the moment the base changes to a new location, we're just gonna go and stop the grid, whether we are in profit or we are at a loss. And we're gonna rinse and repeat every time we get another signal from QFL. So in order to backtest this area here, I'm gonna bring in now my grid backtester, which is this one here, TTP Grid Backtester, available to all observers, which are currently getting a free trial. So go ahead, have a look how it works. I'm sure that is gonna pay off by itself if you practice trying to find the best grid setups. We're gonna follow the instructions of the grid bot. First, we need to find an upper and a lower limit. I put some approximate number like 15 and 17. And as you can see, that plots two lines there. You're gonna see that there's an area here that you can drag and drop. So you could move your grid down here or you could move it up here. But since my intention is to have the top level precisely at the CPR level, and as I say, we want the lower level at 3 times the ATR hourly, that is giving us this perfect box. And now we have a problem. The grid keeps backtesting beyond the level that we wanted to stop the grid. So for that, I'm gonna click again in the settings and I'm gonna pick an approximate date. For example, here, the 27th of May. After I select those dates, now I can see 2 dates that I can select. And the first date, I'm gonna make it coincide with my starting point and I'm gonna drag it to the date that I was supposed to stop the grid. In regards to setting the ATR bands, there's a second option. I created a modified version TTP ATR band, which allows me to set the time frame right in the indicator along with the factor and the length. And that is much more convenient because I can see in real time here the ATR bands. I can also decide to remove the ceiling since we are not using it. And I'm going to adjust the box just because on this time frame is giving us a much more up-to-date value of the 1 hour ATR. Is changing with every 5 minutes. And this means that we can also change the limits and we're gonna move the limit to here. This is giving us this performance when we stop the bot right there. This is incredible because it's a period of 1 day and 4 hours and our grid bot is 15.37% up. And this is not doing any leverage. It's using 10 levels, currently using 0.01 pulse per level. And it's all realized profits because we have set an ending date. So at that point, if you go to the list of trades, it will have closed the last one at 3.68. It was one of the best deals, I have to admit. But let's have a look at a few more deals. Got one where there's a loss, so you can see how this will compensate when you get bad signals. Guys, if this is the kind of content that you enjoy watching and you think that this is useful to learn new things, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, you're hitting like, watching the full video until the end and leaving a comment. So thanks for that. So the next signal that we're going to trade, it's going to start in this candle, the grid, and we're going to have to set our box like this to that level of the ATR, and it will have to take profits as soon as it flips the base to a lower level. So as you can see, it's going to be a period very short to run the grid, around 4 hours, but we can also see that it made 1.88% in a period very short. Of course, this looks like the perfect move to have a grid. It would have been much better if we had the lower end of the grid, of course, more constricted to the price. We are pretty much wasting half of the funds, but this is the strategy, and the strategy is designed as well for times where those funds are going to be needed. The next trade is triggered by this signal buy. We're going to put the top of the grid again on the QFL base, and we're going to stop trading when we get the next QFL base plotted. And our lower end is going to be defined by the ATR on the 1 hour. Let's place in the chart what's going to be our grid plan all the way from here to there. So here is the backtesting result of running this grid between those levels. We are entering at a price of 0.12 and we are ending at almost 13.5, but in all this way up and down, we're closing and opening and closing and opening and taking a lot of tiny fractional profits that turns it into 3.65. This is a period of 2 hours and 55 minutes. So really great trade. We can look at the chart from the distance and kind of imagine what will be a bad deal. I really struggle to find any because even when it's dumping, you're finding great exits. Even this one here, you will have deployed this and that looks profitable. I wouldn't be able to tell you how much, but I know that this is profitable. About this one, I'm not very sure. This is worth backtesting. I'll be able to move the limits and I can move this limit to here and I need to bring the date limit as well closer to the price. As I was expecting, this last deal didn't look very great for entering with a grid bot. If you want to reduce the effects of that, one of the things that you can do is set a level above the base that you define as a stop the grid. There are many situations, like for example this one here or this one there, where the price goes beyond the base. So you could say that you set up the grid like this, but you have two exits. One exit is when the base flips, could be certain fixed percentage above the base, or again, you can bring back the ATR, re-enable the top level, and maybe define a level that is a bit more conservative, like for example, an ATR of 1, which again is running on the 1 hour. So that will mean that at this level, if reached at any point in time, the grid stops. In order to run that, it's again very simple. We just drag and drop the levels of the grid. We drag the time limits as well. We set them to the original intention, but this time we're going to have to go to the grid settings and set up an upper stop loss. And we say we were going to use 1338, so something like this. So now that we're using the upper stop loss, we're reaching a level of 3.82. And as you can see, there are no further deals after the grid exits from the top and it reaches my one-time ATR in the 1 hour. If you're curious what will have happened if we don't do that, removing the upper stop loss, yeah, this was a 7.5. So remember as well that every time that you make something more conservative, you're compromising on some profits that at the same time will have helped compensate for some of the potential losses of being in a more aggressive approach. Now, very quickly, we're going to go into the Martingale DCA bot. The setup is pretty simple. For that, I'm going to be using ADB 2023, the latest version of our best backtester, which currently is available to all observers up until the end of July. This new version is using an architecture of plugins, which means I can have all my plugins right here. Like for example, the volume in BTC, I'm going to use RSI and I'm going to use QFL. Let me expand each of the plugins. We call them plugins because they are independent indicators that are going to show you where they trigger, and the actual backtester is just using them as an external source, which makes the backtesting extremely fast. So let's have a look at what are the settings I'm using to get this magnificent 0.87 daily trading on spot and not even using the last fourth safety order. This is a 0.87 daily, but in total it has made 29% profit in a period of 1 month. So let's have a look at the setup. The setup is very simple. I'm using one RSI crossing above 30 with a length of 7 and the time frame is the 5 minutes. My QFL is using the 1 hour, which corresponds to the risky one on 3 commas. The percentage to enter the deal, 3.5. And I'm also using the volume in BTC and I have it set up to a minimum of 15. All these 3 things are connected in ADB as external sources to enter the deal. I could have also gone for a take profit using TA, but I found that the 4% take profit with 0.2 trailing take profit works incredibly well. Base order is half of the safety orders, 4 safety orders with deviation of 4%, volume scale of 1.1. And you might notice that I didn't put the volume here, my volume filter, and that's because I'm using 24-hour volume in BTC as a plugin, so I can perfectly visualize the areas where the volume is not reached, while at the same time affecting the backtesting. For example, if I increase the volume to 30 here, you can see that now only you reach a volume of 30 BTC in this area, which also corresponds to the only area that you're trading, of course, that is much more conservative and that has an impact in the results. So I'm going to set it back to 15 BTC a day, and that's going to filter out some areas like around here. I'm personally planning to run this setup on 3 commas. And in regards to the grid setup, I think it's a great idea to run it in OKX. It's pretty simple to set up. You have to select manual, and then you can set the limits that you're planning to run the bot. Just giving you some examples here. You can leave this in defaults. All the backtests that we did were with 10 levels. You're welcome to backtest if 10 levels was the best. I didn't spend much time looking whether less levels or more levels is better. That's something that you can easily find out when you're using the grid backtester. Here you can select the amount that you want to invest, for example, $1,000. In this particular setup, we never talk about trailing, so I'm not going to use it. In order to start your bot, you can use a trading view signal, and you can use the stop condition based on price. Remember that we talked that when the QFL changes phase, we can exit, but we also talk about setting a price level exit right above the QFL base and define by 1 time the 1 hour ATR. And that's pretty much it. My QFL single indicator is free and it supports alerts. So for example, you can send yourself when there is a buy in the 1 hour. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Remember to hit the like, subscribe, have a look at the links in the description, open an OKX account. That's definitely supporting the channel. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.